All right. Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome. Everybody is coming in. All right. I am going to get started right at 10 o'clock since this is just a 1 hour webinar. So we are going to get started now. So hello, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. The WIP sponsor webinar series is one of our favorite series to run. And in case you haven't come to any of our other events, you can check out all of them at womeninpublishingsummit.com/events. The recording for all of these WIP sponsor webinars, including this one, will be loaded to YouTube and it'll be emailed out to you within 24 to 48 hours. And I just wanted to remind everyone to please ask your questions in the Q&A box. So if you don't know where that is, down at the bottom of your screen, you should see Q&A. And at the end of Aimee's presentation, I will be going to come down and ask her the questions. And let's see. Aimee just from WIP just sent me a message saying we're having a quick little issue with the live stream. So give me one moment so we can get this live streaming started. Okay, I switched the host, so it might be that will work. To start the live stream, Alexa is on an airplane right now, so that is why you get me hosting this one. And so yeah, let's get started. So this is the Abundantly Social webinar, and they are a gold sponsor. We are so happy to have you here, Aimee. And we love that you are a gold sponsor because you enable us to keep our ticket prices low and to keep having all of our free webinars that we have each month. So thank you so much. And for everybody who is here, Aimee R is the owner of Abundantly Social and Perceptive Public Relations. She has been providing PR for authors and small businesses for 10 years, and she is also the co-owner of Top Shelf Magazine. Abundantly Social provides social media services, PR services, book promotion, and other author services. We are so pleased to have her speak to us today about the relationship between marketing and PR. And I am going to turn this over to her so we can get started. So I'm going to shut off my microphone and my video, and Aimee will take over, and then I'll come back on when it's time for the Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, you guys. So I should make an edit in my bio. I've been doing PR marketing for 12 years. So time really flies. It's been a really long time, but I know that PR and marketing, book launches, all of those things are top priorities for authors. So today we're going to dabble in why PR and marketing make the perfect pair and pairing them together. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get this started. Take a note. We'll answer your questions. I do come with a disclaimer if you haven't heard any of my webinar or my presentations or anything like that. I am very much high energy. I like to have fun. I laugh at myself. So you're more than welcome to laugh with me or at me. I'm most likely laughing at myself. But you're going to learn something. You'll have a good time. And I'm always open for questions in any way that I can. So let's get this show started. All right, you guys, let me put this into sharing so we can get started. But I have this little thing that's in my way. Okay, so right here. All right. Are you everybody ready? I'm ready. I love PR and marketing, so I could talk about this for hours. So we're going to look at what PR is, how you can find your own PR opportunities, where you can share those, and different tips and tricks for you to do it on your own, or you can hire a company like Abundantly Social that does all of these things for you, right? But just a friendly reminder that this journey is a marathon, you guys. It is not a sprint. Will give you instant results and gratification, but we cannot. It definitely takes time to build up your author branding, get recognition outside of your smaller communities. Those things take time to build. People buy from people they feel like they have a relationship with and kind of resonate with. So PR and marketing is a marathon. So we're all marathon runners when we're doing this, right? So we should all get a medal for running a marathon, is my point of view on that. So a quick overview of what PR is. So PR is getting you recognition and outside of your small community, that you're known and you're super famous, and your family, your friends, neighbors, all of that, you're a celebrity, you're super famous. So PR is getting you outside of that. So in different and bigger magazines, doing press releases about current books, releases, awards, speaking that you're doing at some of these big writing conferences, or a book tour that you're doing, pitching all of that to the media, doing national and international buys from bigger book sales, all of those things, podcasts, radios, all of those things. To sum up, is PR, right? Marketing goes hand in hand with that. But let's dive into PR first, and where you can look to get these public relations or PR options that a publicist will do for you. You can do these by yourself. Now, some of these are going to be paid subscriptions that you have to pay for to get, but they are well worth it. So radio guest list is one that every publicist uses to look at different podcast interviews, um, conferences that are coming up. All of those things will be on a radio guest list, and that's like $9 a month, and they will send you everything. It's twice a week that they send you, and it's different shows, conferences, all that, looking for speakers or guests to be on. That is one of the biggest ones that we use. Another one is Hero, which is Help a Reporter Out. I love this one, and it can be very overwhelming if you're doing it yourself. Okay. So keep that in mind. All of this is doing it yourself, and different avenues and tips and areas in which you can go and look for. So you can subscribe to Hero. It's totally free. You'll get it twice a day, I believe, and it's going to be different journalists that are looking to interview people in this specific topic. So you're going to have like 30 to 50 topics to kind of run through and weed out to see which one is the best one. Keep in mind, your book, you can always morph into a lot of different topics. So don't kind of weed this one out. It will benefit you and kind of go further, because it'll be in, like city magazines or city newspapers. So like Hero goes in Houston, and like the Chronicle and those kinds of different media outlets. So those are important, especially to your local community. The biggest other question and things that us publicists and people in PR and marketing get asked all the time is influencer marketing, which is misspelled. I know. I have a 3 and a 4-year-old, you guys. It was tough doing. So it is misspelled, but Isa is one of those tools. It is going to be expensive. It is $150 a month that you can subscribe to. I'm subscribed to it. It helps you find different influencers that would be a good fit for you to pitch your book to, that will market your book for you to their audiences. That one's going to be your most expensive tool that we use to kind of help if you're interested in going the influencer route and kind of getting more publicity from that aspect in marketing. That's going to be your best tool to use. Now, strictly doing podcast, right? Everybody wants to either host a podcast, be on a podcast, create a whole podcast network, right? The sky's the limit when it comes to podcasts, and they really they showcase all over the world. So it's a good way to get international recognition in a quick fashion. Podcast guest is going to be the best one to do. You create a profile and what topics you can speak on, and you kind of put it out there, and all these different podcasts will kind of reach out to you. So for me, from a publicity standpoint and a marketing standpoint, I go through all of those for my podcasting show, but also to kind of take the personal approach, which I always recommend doing, and creating an email and personalizing it if you're going to pitch yourself for the show. If you don't want to create a platform or a profile on there, then you can kind of email them and attach all your media kit and your press release to it. So your media kit is just going to be all the awards that you've won and your latest releases and all of the book releases that you have, how long you've been writing, all of your accolades, right? Topics that you've spoken on before, that's going to be your media kit. And that's what you're going to pitch when you use podcast guests. You're going to kind of put your whole media kit up there if you want to email them individually. I will say when you're pitching yourself for PR and marketing by yourself, a personal approach is going to be your best option in kind of building that rapport and relationship, because the more you can build with that specific podcast, they know others that they can refer you to. So while you're also looking at doing all of these things and these resources, it's good to kind of build those relationships in a positive avenue. Book awards and conferences. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys on this one. We Google those if we don't already know them. Like everybody knows the Ben Franklin Awards, the Reader Digest Writers Awards, all of those things. We already know those, but if there's new ones kind of evolving that are pretty big, we're going to Google to find those out, to check their sources, make sure it's legit and it's worth the investment, because a lot of times you have to invest in book awards. Writers conferences, we're going to start local and look within your local community and then branch out, especially if they're doing virtual, like Women in Publishing does it virtually. So it's a good way to kind of help bring everybody together in those sense. So completely honest, if we are looking for new resources for you, we're going to Google and find out the best ones. Now, if you're looking for reviews, which all of you guys should be, Instagram, Facebook groups, and LinkedIn are going to be amazing for that. LinkedIn is also going to be amazing looking for different podcasts. So there's a lot of award-winning podcasters on LinkedIn that only pick guests from LinkedIn. So don't cut out LinkedIn. It is very important for those. Facebook groups is good for building relationships and within your writing community. A lot of other publicists and people within marketing will be in those author groups and communities to kind of give tips and information and different resources for everybody to have. So that's a good way to kind of make a list of newer opportunities for you to kind of explore and go down that different avenue when you're looking at doing public relations by yourself, which it is very fun. It is very time consuming. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It does take a lot of time, but these are the top resources that all of us use. Google is our best friend as much as it is everybody else's. And we just dive deeper into like sources and all of that to make sure that it's going to be a good fit for you. The magazine's accredited. It's going to kind of reap a benefit. So that's just generally, these are the top ones that we use. But as you can see down here, social media is still important in finding those and building relationships with reviewers and other avenues like that. So when it comes to sharing, right? Because sharing is caring, you guys. It's super important. The media loves it. So we just talked about all the ways that you can find different media opportunities, all the ways to get your name out there in different avenues, shapes, forms, everything like that. You need to share those. It is really important. And you want to share them on all your social media while tagging that media outlet that either did your interview, whether it was written or a video one, a podcast, conference, whatever it is. You need to share that on social media and tag them in it. So that way, one, they can see that you're sharing. You're more likely to be asked to come back if you do those things, on top of building that relationship and kind of seeing where it goes in different resources and avenues that might benefit from that. So I can tell you right now from experience, because I have my own podcast and it is important. I do check that my guests, when they share, they tag me in it. If they don't, to be completely honest, I'm less likely to invite them back, because it took a lot of time for medias and stuff to put aside to interview you, do all those things. If you're not willing to share it, they're not willing to give you more time. So you have to be very conscious when it comes to that. Media is very sensitive on that subject. So websites, every single one of you guys needs to have a media tab or section on your website to post everywhere that you have done anything related to any book, literally anything. So that can be magazine interviews that you've done. It doesn't matter if you were on the cover or if you just had a feature in there or your book was listed or your review for your book was listed. It needs to be on that media page. On top of conferences that you've attended and spoke at, or if you have sponsored one, that needs to be on there. Um, Awards that you have won should always be on your website, right? But podcasts that you've been on with the link to all of these. So the link to the magazine article, if it's an online one that you can share, a link to all the press releases that have been sent out about your book, on top of the podcasts that you have been on. Either it's going to be their RSS link or their YouTube link, whatever it is that they provide you or that you ask to have needs to go in that section. Um, it's super important, one, because if you're pitching yourself to your media, they're going to go to your website and then they're going to go to your social media, right? So they're going to check those two things to kind of see what all you have going on. If you're a good fit, all of those things, they're going to do their due diligence. So it's important to make sure that you're covering all of these bases. Now, press releases are so much fun. They're so much fun because it's highlighting you and all of the achievements that you've done, writing another book, which is super important, right? That's a big achievement in of itself. Awards that you won, conferences that you've spoken at, all of those things creates a media trail. And so you're going to have that written. Make sure you put your book cover in it and your author photo with a bio, right? So you want to kind of keep that SEO going with all of those keywords and stuff that you're going to put in there, and then distribute through EIN and other press release distributions. Now, that is what's going to also cost you money on that end. So to distribute like on EIN and all of those is about $150 per press release, unless you buy a package deal. So you want to make sure that you're distributing it as far and wide as you can. That doesn't mean that it will get picked up all the time by several medias. But if you don't do it, you're never going to know. So it's one of those things that you want to do to create the trail and the media trail of everything that you've done, because you never know who's going to see it and when they're going to see it. And so you want to make sure that you have that. So press releases, share those everywhere. You can put those on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I would not take a photo of it and put it on Instagram, so I wouldn't do that. But on Facebook, you can do that. LinkedIn, you can put it on there, definitely on your website. So you want to make sure that you're putting everything where someone would go to check you out, right? You invest a lot of money in a website. A lot of time goes into social media, and especially if you're running ads, those kinds of things, money can also go into social media, right? So you want to make sure that you're covering all of your bases and sharing everything so everybody can see it to give you maximum exposure, right? It's super important to do those things. So why they make the perfect pair is because it is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So marketing, you can run ads, right? We all know we can run a Facebook ad, we can run an Amazon ad, and if you hit that algorithm just right, ooh, baby, you are selling a lot of books, right? And you're like, hell yeah, this is awesome. But when it comes to public relations and it comes to speaking and building a relationship and a name outside of your smaller community that we all have, that we're all this like famous celebrity in, right? That takes time because the media is a slow burn. It is one of those things that you're going to put your foot in the door and open it a little bit, and then you may push just a little bit further and that it's going to barely open, right? So it takes a lot of time to build up the relationship and the trust with the media before things really start igniting. So for this one, I will give you an example. So I launched a book in June. We sent out for editorial reviews last November, right? I didn't get an editorial review until this September for that book that came out in June. And I did not get a national buy until November for this book in June. So we had like, I don't even know what that is, like 8 months in between, right? In between, we were doing all these podcast interviews, all of that. And then we snagged a USA Today featured article. So it takes a lot of time to build up. And it's not to say that it's going to happen in 8 months. Sometimes it could take a year. It depends on how many books you have in your series, how established your author brand is. If we're building an author brand from scratch, it's probably going to take longer to get the traction and all those things that you're looking for because we're starting completely from scratch, right? So on top of that, right, the pitching and making your media kit the best that it can be, getting you on podcasting, pitching you for speaking at conferences, especially if you've never done that. All those things are rather difficult to position you in. So we have to have the credits and accolades and editorial reviews and all those things to kind of help give you backing. So that's why it is the perfect pair, because they complement each other. We can give you a mass amount of book sales by running ads and doing these shares and doing all of that. It's a slower burn when it comes to speaking and getting your name out more like in person. It's much more difficult starting from scratch. If you're already established, it's less time consuming, but it generally is going to take anywhere between 6 months to a year and a half, depending on how fresh you are to the market. Um, and building those relationships. So marketing and PR is all about relationships, building relationships with your readers, right? And with the media, keep staying true to your author brand, but still writing books. So all these things can kind of blend together. Um, the reason on social media, from a social media standpoint, why PR and them go together is because doing all this PR and speaking and conferences and press releases and all of those things, that like is the jackpot for content for your social media. You can pull from your press releases different, if you put a quote in there, you can pull that. You can pull excerpts from your book. You can pull your podcasting interviews and kind of break it up into snippets and create all these reels. So from a marketing standpoint, from that, PR is like the holy grail of content. You don't have to keep coming up with your new content because you're speaking on it all the time. Um, it's just one of those things back in the beginning where I said it is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So I know there are some stories where they've like catapulted to fame, overnight sensation, all of those things. I wish that for every single one of you guys. I truly do. That is rare and far between. So it takes time to kind of build up to all those things, which is what PR does. If you strictly only do PR and you don't focus on any marketing, then you're missing out on all of the possibilities that you could, and you're not building their relationships with the medias, because a lot of them, like I said, are going to be checking to see if you've shared it, tag them in it, if it's on your website and they're listed, all of these things. And that's going to help you build those media relationships a lot quicker, and especially with reviewers and those kinds of things. So it's going to make it a lot simpler to do it in that avenue than to do one and then the other. Not that you can't do one and then the other. You can do like a minimum amount of marketing, which is just social media sharing and those kinds of things that complement your public relations, and kind of hold off maybe on doing library tours and those kinds of things to a later date. So there's always ways that you can play with it, but you should be doing some kind of marketing, whether it's just your shares of your public relations options that you have to kind of help you together, because it's hard to do one without the other. Okay. Overall question that every single one of you guys have, I get asked all the time, and I love talking about it, is doing it yourself. So everybody who knows me or has heard a presentation from me before, I'm a complete open book. I will tell you every resource that I use, different avenues that if you want to pursue yourself, you can. I want all of you guys to be successful in whatever budget and realm that is for you. So doing it yourself, reviews and book awards, because that's like everyone's prime focus, and it should be. So for reviews, you really want to go and search out reviewers on Goodreads and Instagram. There are some really great ones that will review your book. In terms of book awards, I told you earlier, and I'll tell you again, Google is your friend. It is my friend. It is my best friend. And it will kind of help you, and word of mouth from other authors. So building relationships within those like Facebook author communities, those kinds of things are going to be wonderful for you to kind of get your eyes and nose and ears into other situations that would be very beneficial for you in other circles. Pitching your book to reviewers, that's going to be like your elevator pitch, right? Which we would put like in your media kit, but it's just like 3 sentences, captivate that reviewer where they want to read your book. Researching, submitting the awards that fit your genre. So most book awards are going to be very well-rounded when it comes to genres and the acceptance and stuff in it. You do not want to, like, if your book is a thriller and you have a small amount of romance in there, it is not a romance novel. Like, you cannot position it for romance because you don't want to burn your relationship or potential relationship with that book award by entering it into one that's not. So when it comes to if we jump to book promotions here for just a minute, when it comes to promo stacking your books and things like that, if you enter it into the wrong category, they will forgive you one time. If you do it again, you will be blacklisted and they will not let you promote on their channels again. So you want to be very cautious when it comes to that and make sure that it really pertains to your book. And the same is going to apply to book awards. Setting up library tours and book signings. This is probably, to be completely honest, the most time consuming. You want to gather up a list of the local libraries that you have in your city and kind of surrounding areas, and then you're going to pitch it. So they will read your pitch. They may respond to you, they may not. I have sent out like a total number probably this past year of almost 3,500 library pitches, and I probably got 1,200 responses. So they may not respond to you. Don't take that to heart. It just means that if you're writing another book, we're going to pitch it again. And maybe we're focused on getting book awards and more reviews and accolades for that book, and then try it again and reposition it. So don't get discouraged. Book signings. Most independent bookstores will do book signings as long as your book is on Ingram and it's returnable. They will not do it if it is not returnable. So you want to make sure that you have that stipulation. There is some here in Texas where I'm at that will do it, and they do like a local kind of market on the weekends, and that's when their book signings are, and you just put it on their calendar. So if you have a list of bookstores that you want, go and look at their events and see if you can get booked for a book signing. Be aware when it comes to book signings, the latest thing is not a whole lot of people are offering them nowadays, and they're not super well attended. So you want to kind of feed into that. That's where marketing is going to play a role. So if you get a signing opportunity at X, Y, and Z bookstore, you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can on your end to bring people there. Because the bookstore will only do so much if they do any of it, if it's not a big kind of like market event. So you want to make sure that you're doing the marketing around it if you get the library tours or the book signings. That's going to be super important for you to kind of bring your own people and marketing into that. So when it comes to pitching for media, all those media opportunities that we talked at the beginning, radio guest list, Harrow, podcast guest, Isaiah, all those things. You're going to look for, just like we did, and look for different speaking opportunities if you're wanting to do conferences. But what you're wanting to do is you want to make it a personal pitch. So this is what we do. I do. It's how I learned to do it. It's personal for each person. So whether it's a podcast, a conference, whatever it is, Speaker Tunity is one that I love. That one, depending on the tier that you purchase, the different things that you get. So you can get, for Speaker Tunity, you can get radio, you can get podcasts, you can get conferences, you can get TED Talks, all those things. They're all at a different price point, right? So for Speaker Trinity, they have like a description of what the conference is, if you're doing that, who to contact, what they're looking for, right? And the time window to contact or submit within that time. Podcasts and stuff will kind of be similar in that sense, but it'll have the person to contact with their email. So you want to personalize it by sending them an email, addressing it to the name on the contact, and just telling them who you are, what you do, and why you feel like you're a really great fit, what your book is about, and you really would love this opportunity. If they want to talk to you, here's their number to get more information, but you want to make it as personal and relatable as you can. You're going to have more success doing that than just copy and pasting your pitch to all of these people, and it's just like, to whom it may concern. They most likely are not going to read that. If you address it and you took the time to do that and to write it, and it's a little bit different for each one, because podcasters talk, media people talk, they talk together, right? So it's important to do that, and that's going to take you much further than just doing a generic pitch and pitching it for everyone. Your media kit can be the generic attachment that you send to everything to kind of highlight your accolades and all of that, but the body of the email needs to be as personalized as you can get it. In terms of building media relationships, your pitch is your your first chance, right? And so what is that where people say like your first impression is the most important? The pitch that you give them in that email is your first impression, and that's your stepping stone in building that relationship with that media. So whether you do it, your publicist does it, or they already have an established relationship and they're looking to kind of spider web out, it doesn't matter. The more personalized it can be, the better and more successful that pitch is going to go, and that relationship with that media contact is going to go because you went the extra mile. So sometimes the extra mile in PR will take you wonders. Social media, which is overwhelming for everyone. I hear that 30 times a day. And I understand and I get it. That you have to be on all these platforms, all these things. Stick to the ones that you are the most confident and comfortable with and go from there, because not all media is going to be on all of them, and your book is not a good fit for all of them. So you really want to make sure that you are on the social medias, at least one that you are most confident and comfortable working, and maintain the other two. You really don't want to be on more than 3 platforms, because you're not going to do any of them efficiently if you try to do all of them. So pick the 3 where your audience is, your genre is, where you can build other author relationships, and you're the most comfortable using that one and maintaining the other ones. Shares on that one is going to be super important when it comes to your media opportunities that you have, book awards that you've done, reviews that you have gotten, and building that relationship with your readers. So PR and marketing, which is what I'm talking about, is super important, but that relationship that you have with you and your readers is far more important than the PR and the marketing, because your readers, especially lawyer readers, will follow you and share those things if you miss it and tag you in it. But engaging with them and getting those reviews and them doing word of mouth and spreading your book is far more important, to be completely honest. And that's me as a professional telling you that, and as a reader. That is me telling you that. And that's my 2 cents, and I will stand by those 100%. But also when it comes to social media, if you are sharing your media opportunities and those kinds of things, make sure that you tag them in it. That is very important, because they will go and check. The bigger the show, especially if it's like House of Mysteries, which is syndicated by NBC, they are going to go and check that you have shared that you're either going to be on, you were on, or your replay has done. And if none of those things have happened where you've shared them or anything like that, they will not ask you to be back, because it's a really big platform. So you want to make sure that you are conscious of that and are aware of that, because media is very sensitive. So we have to feed sometimes to their sensitivity. Now there's different avenues here that you can go down if you don't, maybe like book awards isn't your top priority, right? And you just want to do reviews, and podcasting and conferences isn't your biggest kind of area that you really want to be in either. You still need to focus on doing all of these things, because that personal relationship that you build with these medias or these reviewers, you never know who someone may know or refer you to kind of build that up. Now, it's not to say that having a publicist, we do this stuff every day in our sleep. That's why I could sit here and talk about this for hours, and I'm limited. I'm limited on time and how much I can tell you. So these are all just the most important things and feedback that we've received. But when it comes to kind of picking and choosing which ones you want to do, you can do that. And there's some authors that have had success with that. But another reason that I'm going to caution you in doing that is because book awards and reviews help you stand apart from others within that genre, right? And if you write in multi-genres, then it really makes you stand out in the wide array of which you write. And leveraging those for your readers to kind of see like, hey, you've helped me accomplish these things and helped make me a better writer. So building that relationship like with your readers, like I said at the beginning here, is what is going to push you, but doing all of these things together. So don't count out doing conferences and speaking. Even if you get nervous, you're like, I don't know what I could talk about. It's the best way to kind of put you on the map as an established author, which all of you guys are. Even if you're starting out, you guys, you have ambitions of being an established author, and whatever that looks like for you. But conferences and those kinds of things put you in a different author arena. So you make different relationships, different contacts, which you never know where they could take you. So don't count those out. I would caution you on picking and choosing which ones you really want to kind of focus on. I would do all of them, and maybe there's an extra focus on reviews for 3 months. And you're like, when we're doing editorial reviews, and we do those 6 months out, right? And then we're going to switch gears and pitch you for book awards and conferences, because now it's conference season in the spring, right? So you can kind of tailor your strategy, but don't try to just cut things out and only focus and pigeonhole yourself, because then you're going to get where you've like stalled out and you can't go anymore because you're only focusing on these two areas instead of the whole, world round picture. So I want to be cautious of those for you guys when you are pitching yourself and doing it yourself. I'm 100% in support. If you want to do it yourself, high five, power to you. I have a ton of resources and information I'm more than happy to give you. If it's not something that you want to do yourself, you guys, if you don't know me, Abundantly Social does all of this stuff, right? So we do everything from book launches, full PR and marketing, drive to number one, social media management and creation. Like I said, we've done this for 12 years. Talking about myself is never a fun thing, so I'm going to blow through this really quickly. We've done it for 12 years. We started off in social media marketing. We've evolved into a full-on author services company. We offer PR, which I do, and I also have others that I collaborate with, book launches. We can also help you in self-publishing if you need a book formatter, book cover designer. We know all of those that we can put you in touch with. We have created over 250 Amazon bestsellers, and we have helped with some USA Today bestsellers as well. That's probably our fun point to do, but we have established in social media, so that's my happy spot because I started in it and I've loved it and I've done it. So it's not something that I'm new to, but like I said, you guys, I am an open book. I want all of you guys to be successful, whether you work with me or others that I know, or if you want to do it yourself and I can just help you to be successful. I want all of you guys to be successful. So I am a big open book. So I hope that you all learned something today. If not, please send me an email and let me know so I can get better at doing presentations for you guys. But I'm open for any questions or anything like that that you guys have, or if you want me to backpedal over something, just let me know. But I will turn it over to Women in Publishing for you guys.
Okay, hold on one moment. Aimee from Women in Publishing Summit, can you allow me to start my video? I had to give her the hosting capabilities to go live, so I lost my ability to start my own video.
You should be host now, Raywin.
There we are. Hello, everybody again. Okay, so I'm going to be reading off the questions. We have, looks like 15, but some might be a couple of comments. And then we also have a couple that were in the chat box that I caught. So I'm going to start at the beginning. So the first question that we caught from the chat box was, is Harrow more for nonfiction?
No, you can morph that, like I said, into multiple ones because they're going to ask for a specific topic. And so if that topic pertains to your book, so say that it's a sci-fi fantasy book and it takes place in space and they want someone to talk about space, well, you know a lot because you researched a lot to go into it. So you can definitely speak on it. So it's not just for nonfiction. You can kind of morph it into anything.
That's a great answer. Okay. And what if you're not a local and you're always traveling when it comes to starting local with conferences?
So if you're always traveling, then I would look at conferences that do online. So that way you can be anywhere and kind of participate. And then there are different like conferences outside of your circle. So I always like to kind of do things like that. We like to start local because that's where you're well known and then broaden out. But if you're traveling and doing all of that, then we can look at the conferences near you at that time or virtual ones that you can appear at any moment. But I wouldn't cut out conferences because they are important.
Okay. Can you give us a link to a website that is doing all of the things that you are suggesting well, something that they can use as a model, preferably a fiction website?
Oh, yeah. No, I can totally do that. I can pull that up answering questions because I am very good at multitasking. So,
Okay,
yes, I can do that.
so we will see an example in just a few moments. Okay, so next question. What should you put in your press release and when do you send them?
So, your press release, you want to put whatever the topic is. So, for this conversation, let's say that it is a new release that you have. So, you want to send that out the month of your new release. You want to put the title of it. And if you've won previous awards, like if you're a bestseller, USA Today bestseller, doesn't matter. You want to say from the award winning series, whatever, blah, 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 as the header. And then you have the subheaders. You want to put the information about this new book, the launch date that it's coming, the cover of the book, and then you want to put information about you as the author with your author photo on top of the accolades that you've won or the previous book. If it is a series, what the accolades that the series has won. And then you want to send those out. So
Perfect.
I hope that answered your question.
Can you repeat what you said about combining events on Reels?
Yes. So if you're doing let's just say you're doing a podcast, right? Let's say that you're doing a podcast and it's a video podcast on top of an audio one. So then what you're going to do is you're going to get that link to the YouTube channel, wherever it was that it was casted as a video. And then you can take splices of it to create little tidbits of like, I don't know, say that you gave like a really fabulous tip, this one section from like minute 130 to 230, you're going to snip that section out. And then you can use that as a reel or different kind of options within your content creation that you're doing. And so then you could probably pull, like, depending on how long the interview was, you could probably pull like 3 or 4 of those. And I mean, you can go on Fiverr if you know someone that does video editing like we do, they can kind of help you put the things on it, the different sizing and lengthwise that it needs to be for Instagram and all these other avenues that you want to do. And then you can upload those and you can kind of feed those into it and tag them, the media or the podcast, whatever it was that you did, in that opportunity. So you can definitely do that. I do have the website up, so let me show you to answer this question. So this one is a fiction author that writes both children's fiction and historical fiction. So this is their website. So they have a news section. They also have their own media outlets as well. And then media. So then it has everything that they've been on in a list to where you can find it. When they appeared at the Book Fest Awards, all of those things. And then these links will take them there. And it also has an interview with who it was that they were talking to, if they were on the magazine, all of that. So this is something, theirs is set up a little bit differently than probably your website, but this is the best way to do it because then you can see everywhere that they have been interviewed or they've interviewed somebody or awards that they've won or been featured in. So this is what a media page would look like. This one is extremely long, so I'm not going to go through all of it, but these are the different ways that you can set it up.
That's a great example. So what is a library pitch?
A library pitch is going to be why the library should have you be as a featured speaker or at a library event that they are hosting. So here where I live, they will do like library Saturdays and they'll have a bunch of local authors kind of in there with their book, doing a book reading, those kinds of things. So you're going to pitch it the same way you're going to pitch a media one, but you're going to address it to that person in charge of that library when you pitch it, and then just tell them your availability and how I would really love to, fit something in the time because I want to give back to my local community, and this is what I'm doing within it. And so you want to tailor it a little bit, but it's generally going to be the same pitch that you use for podcasters and those kinds of things, and include your background, all the accolades that you've won, your media kit, all of that you want to include because they're going to look at that. That's important.
Can you get an indie Amazon book into a library?
Yes. You can definitely do that. Do not sell yourself short if you are an indie author. One, you guys are amazing. I love you guys. I focus in indie and small press authors. Not to say that I don't work with traditionally published, because I do, but my sweet spot is indie and small press authors. So yes, you can get your books into local libraries. You can book local libraries or library tours being an indie author. I'm currently working on one that is an indie author that we just got a national sale with Indigo for his book that came out in June. So it can be done. Yes, don't sell yourself short.
How do you recommend doing PR and marketing when you're doing two businesses, author and editor/coach? Should they be separated?
Okay, so my honest answer is you should outsource that to somebody else and just show up when they tell you to show up so you can focus on everything else. If I'm a business owner and I'm a mom of two, which I feel like is its own little business, and I'm trying to survive that business, I would outsource that and just let someone be in charge of your calendar and tell you when to set up. Hey, you need to show up Thursday at 3 p.m. because it fit in your calendar and this is the show that you're going to be on. So that way you're not bogged down and worried about that, and you can kind of give up control for that and let someone else who does that handle that for you so you can focus on everything else and what brings you money while you're exploring this avenue. So that would be my professional opinion. If you really want to do it by yourself, then I would limit yourself to X amount of speaking engagements a month. So that way you don't get bogged down trying to do all those shares while focusing on everything else. But my best advice is to outsource that for you.
If we get a PR opportunity like a magazine feature or interview, how should we prepare our author website for strangers?
So if you got an opportunity like a magazine feature or an interview, is that the question?
Yeah, so what should they do on their, or make sure they have on their website so that it's prepared for an influx of new people?
Yeah, so make sure that your bio is up to date. Make sure that all of your books are on there. Even if you have a pre-order book going, make sure it's on there. Make sure that you're subscribed to your newsletter comes up. And if you have an opt-in to that, like if you have they get to download the first 2 chapters, they get the first book at a discount, whatever it is, make sure that that's up and rolling and ready to go. And make sure behind the scenes before you launch it that you already have the information of the magazine or the podcast, whatever you're going to do. So when you get that link, you can insert it and it's already up kind of on there. If you already get a lot of attention towards your website, then I would put it as the banner as like, hey, catch me here at this time on this podcast. I'd love to engage with you guys and stay up to date, and do it as like a news header on your website. You can do that. You can be like, hey, I got this magazine that's coming out in February. Tune in and catch me in it because, let me know where you find me because I'm going to be featured in it and it's a surprise for all of us. Something fun. You can always do something like that if you know, but if it's after the fact, then you want to make sure that you're prepared to do it and have everything already kind of set up in motion. What you're going to talk about, what you're going to offer, all those things. So that would be my advice for you.
Perfect. So this one says, hello, I'm an independent traditional publisher with a roster of multiple authors. Is it possible to create a plan with publishers and their authors, or do you work primarily with authors?
No, so we work with publishers too, and we usually do set packages for X amount of authors that we will represent along with the publishing house. So we will help the publishing house establish more of their brand along with their authors, and we usually do an X amount of authors, and we can increase or decrease that as things go along. So That's generally the package is going to be set up. So it's similar to what our retainer package is, which is you literally get everything that we have to offer under the sun. And if it's not listed and you want it, and we can do that, we just never thought to do it, we will do it. So that's generally how it works, but you are locked into at least a 6-month commitment, and you can stretch that out further if you want to, but it is going to be a 6-month commitment. And we'll work with the publishing house along with the authors to kind of sum it all up, but they're most likely going to be stronger together, because if they're, I don't know, say that they're all coming out with releases in 2024, the ones that you've booked, then they're going to look stronger saying, hey, like this publishing house did that, and that for us. Each author doing that is going to look a lot stronger. So we work together.
So then the next 2 questions are also about your pricing. One is, what is the price for your PR services? And the other is, are there some ballpark range pricing for your different levels of service, or is it completely case by case? I thought those 2 went together.
Yeah, no, they do for sure. Okay. So, okay, this is yet again, this is very much people have done this as this is the Aimee thing. So Aimee's super flexible on certain things. So I am not here to break anybody's bank account. That's never been my goal. So we have smaller bundles that you can purchase when you need for however long that you need. Now, with those, it is like a monthly commitment, unless you purchase our smaller PR package, which then you don't get everything under the sun, you get certain things. That is going to be a 3-month commitment. But we do have that. We also offer custom bundles, because maybe the bundle doesn't fit, but their retainer is just too much. You're like, this is what I'm needing. We can kind of morph stuff that's going to fit within your budget. So we can be budget conscious, and what we can offer you that within that want to receive. We can't guarantee that we can give you everything. We can give you most of it that'll fit within it. So we do offer that. In terms of our pricing, it generally, our smaller PR package, which is very limited in what we give you, starts at 500. Our retainer, which is everything under the sun, editorial reviews, book launches, literally everything. That is $1,500 for the first month, because I bring my whole team on board, and then it's $800 for the next month, the 2nd through the 6th month. And if you want to continue, it's that $800. Now that would include, if you wanted to self-publish and you're looking for formatters and editors and all of that, that's included in the retainer. We work out the deal where you pay the editor separate, but we pay for everything else within that. So that's how the retainer works. When it comes to publishers, it's a little bit different depending on how many authors you want to bring on board. But that's going to be generally your ballpark of a range when you're working with us.
Perfect. And where can they find your client list? On your website?
So I don't have a client list on my website, because it's a long list of people I've worked with over the years and who I currently work with. I do limit the number now of who I work with, just because, like I said, I do have a 4 and a 3-year-old. So I do limit that on who I take in, and I'm more selective on who I work with. So my client list isn't up there. But if you would like to have it, you're more than welcome to email me. It's Aimee, AIMEE, at abundantlysocial.com. And I'm more than happy to send you recommendations, who I'm working with now, and some of the things that they've been successful with and what they have to say. I'm more than happy to send that to you.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So back to some questions about specifically PR. So does a book only or usually have to be returnable for it to be in bookstores? And does Ingram Spark automatically have books in some bookstores or automatically in some online stores?
So to answer your first question, yes, it has to be returnable for bookstores, because they don't want to take that gamble if your book doesn't sell, that they can't return it to get their money back. So they will turn you down if it's not returnable. And I've had big festivals tell me, hey, I need you to switch this. Like the Texas Book Festival told me that I had to switch it for one of my clients that got in there because it wasn't returnable. And they're like, if you don't fix it, we can't have you in there. So it is a big deal. It has to be returnable. As far as it distributing, it will distribute everywhere online for you for bookstores. So it'll be Barnes & Noble, Walmart, all of that online. It won't be in the store. You can approach them for it, like we did with Indigo, to get the buy and pitch it and see if they'll keep it in the stores and build those relationships. So that's a different option. Now, Barnes & Noble will, if you finesse them just right and you get enough authors involved, you could do author mingles or kind of signings, author events at Barnes and Nobles because they're independent sometimes. So then you may be able to kind of work that circuit, and that's how you could get in. But other than that, it's going to be a challenge if you don't have accolades and those kinds of things.
Yeah, we've had one of our authors do local Barnes and Noble book signings.
They're fun. They're so fun.
Okay, so I've done more than half a dozen podcasts, but I haven't seen them affect my sales. Any suggestions?
Yeah, it's going to take more than a half a dozen, and it may not always lead to sales right off the bat. So leveraging that media in your social media channels and your press releases and all of those things is what's going to feed into sales, because then you're building this kind of traction and keeping it going with that momentum. But just doing podcast interviews in and of itself, even if they say that they have huge numbers, which I will be completely honest with you, sometimes people lie about those those numbers and they can buy those numbers. So you really have to do your due diligence when it comes to it. But just because it has a high number of listeners and all that does not mean it's going to generate high number of sales. So you cannot count your sales based off the number of the people that it reached. One and the two don't feed. So the whole point of doing podcasts and stuff is to get your name outside of your circle and into a different arena and different listeners and those kinds of things. It's not always going to lead to sales. That's the cold reality of it. Is not everything that we do will generate sales, but it will push you outside and create these accolades and opportunities for you to make sales, whether it's in person, conferences, whatever. We've opened up those doors for you. So that's kind of the point of it.
If you have limited time between media placements or podcast appearances, which would you choose?
Oh, if I had limited time between media appearances and podcasts, is that what the question was?
Yeah, which one?
Yeah. Oh man, I would do podcast, but that's strictly to me. So I am less awkward and more comfortable here behind my chair talking with you guys. If you meet me in person, I'm a very shy person until you get to know me. So personally, I'm going to do podcasts because I thoroughly enjoy those. I thrive a lot more in that environment. But it depends on you. If you thrive a lot more with in person, then I would do in person. Those are probably going to be farther between than doing a podcast, because I mean, we could put you on 30 podcasts in a month if you were completely free and we were open to it and we just hit the right kind of options and opportunities for you and the timing was right. You could do those all the time. The ones in persons are going to be different. So
What's a good amount of time between pitch follow-ups?
a week and a half to 2 weeks. You don't want to go too far and you don't want to, do it the same week on a Friday, right? So give it a week and a half to 2 weeks and then follow up. If you don't hear anything, then move on. And I would revisit it in 3 months and change your pitch a little bit and revisit it and see what happens.
What do you include in social media kits if you're starting from ground zero?
Oh man, everywhere that you are, no matter what your following size is or anything like that, because following sizes, you guys, those will come. It's not something to rush about. Include that, your bio, and kind of where you envision it. So if you have a series that's coming, it's going to be a 5-book series and you're on book 1, right? Then you can kind of, if you already have a game plan for what the other ones are going to be, talk about where you see this series going, what you expect, all of those kinds of things on top of your bio and those kinds of things. As far as a media kit, here's what's going to go in a media kit, because they're kind of one in of the same. So a media kit is going to be a summary of you and the summary of your books, why you wrote your books, what your books are about, what genre they are. If they're multi-genre, tell me all the genres that it's about, right? All the accolades and achievement that you as an author have won, or even outside of an author, if you have business accolades that you've won, all those things are going to be included. The book accolades that you've won for these books, editorial reviews that you have received, what they were, the positive ones, and what's going to go in there. If you don't have positive ones, we're going to just skip over it, right? Those are going to go in there, and your bio and different speaking topics in which you can talk on. Now, it doesn't matter if you're new to this whole arena, you have one book out, none of those matter. You guys can speak on all the different elements that went into your book, right? Putting a book together, what your process was like, what your journey was like. I'm now an expert on space because I have a space opera or odyssey, and I'm just excellent at that and creating all these things and find out all these avenues. So you can talk about a lot of things. So don't sell yourself short. You can talk about a lot of things. That's what you want to put in there. And then if you have done previous speaking, where you have spoke in the past, because they're going to go and check all those things out. At least I do when I'm looking at guests and stuff for my shows.
Okay, so this is going to be the last question. I'm combining two. Do you recommend joining specific speaker groups, and where do you research about conferences looking for speakers? So those two go together.
I would join as many author or writing groups that you can join, right? So Abundantly Social either manages or is a part of 1,500 different author and writing group organizations or promotional groups for authors, right? There's a ton of resources and information within those groups. So I would join as many as you can, and don't network to sell your book. Engage in different arenas that you can answer the question. Like if someone has a question about editing and you have your own experience, engage in that way. And then you will see that you'll find more and more information as you go through the comments or the posts and those kinds of things. So that's what I would do, especially when it comes to conferences. That's a really good way to find out about some of them. Speakertunity is amazing at finding conferences all over. So I use them. I pay, because it is a monthly thing, and I pay for like 3 tiers. So I pay $80 a month, and I search for different conferences within a certain region, right? So if my authors are in Texas, I'm going to go like skip over Delaware and all of that and go to the Texas ones and see what all is offered in Texas, if they're in person or not. But then I'm going to go through all the other ones. And if they're virtual, I'm going to pitch to all of those other ones that fit within it. So Speakertunity is amazing. It's expensive, but it's amazing because they will have new conferences and opportunities coming up. Like every month you get a new tip sheet and all that, which is going to tell you what all is happening. They're great for looking for podcasts and radio and all of those things on top of TED Talks, all of those things. They're fabulous, but also Google is my friend when it comes to those, because I'll be like local writing conferences and it'll show me stuff all over Texas. And if my clients in Virginia, Delaware, whatever, it'll show me. And then I can go to their website and look at if they're looking for speakers, what topics. And then if I'm still within the window that there's accepting submissions, then I will pitch my client for that. So that's the most time consuming part of public relations, to be honest with you guys, is doing the research and finding the things. You can send a pitch out once you get really good at it. I mean, you can send that thing out pretty quick. It's all the research that goes into it and maintaining that relationship and building that relationship that takes a lot of time, right? That's why it's a marathon and it's not a sprint. So that would be my like best recommendation. And it's going to be the same thing if you're looking at like book festivals or anything like that. Going on Google and just looking at different book events, book expos, those kinds of things going. If you can find one that's local to you or it's not super expensive to travel to it and getting a table at it, you're going to have more success at those. If you're like a fiction fantasy writer, Comic-Cons is like the holy grail for you guys. You can grab a table for like 150, 200 bucks, and that's like your target market because those people are looking for books that you write in. So do not count them out. You can make either your money back on your table or you can go in the positive depending on, how big it is and those kinds of things. So those are the avenues that Google is going to be your friend, but don't count out any like Comic-Con or different kind of conference like that because they will be very beneficial for fiction writers for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aimee. So we are over on time. We're 2 minutes over right now. So I'm just going to do a very quick goodbye and remind everybody that tickets are currently on early bird pricing for the Women in Publishing Summit. So you can save $100 by getting your ticket this month. And you can actually join us for networking on November 28th as well. We have already started our monthly networking sessions for our WIP Summit members. Whoever's attending this year, you can already start networking with other attendees if you get your ticket now. And like I said, you can save $100. You just have to go to womeninpublishingsummit.com. You can buy your ticket right there on that homepage. And Aimee, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will have this video uploaded to YouTube and an email sent out within 48 hours. So thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.